So now we're at 1.2, and we're going to set up our environment to be able to use Java so that we can start writing some Java code. So let's get into it. Okay, so now we're here at 1.2. Here in 1.2, set up for Java. For the entirety of this course, we will be coding in Java. Besides installing Java on your machine, you must also add some support technologies to allow you to run and edit Java code. 1.2.1 Java Development Kit. Installing Java means downloading a package of software called the Java Development Kit, or JDK. For short, the JDK contains software, the tools needed to develop and run Java code, namely the Java compiler, Java C, and the Java virtual machine, JVM. While the compiler is responsible for processing Java code into machine-readable code, the JVM allows us to run that code on any computer. Understand, the JVM allows us to run that code on any computer. These tools together, downloaded as the JDK, gives us the means to write, compile, and run Java on our machines. A step-by-step walkthrough of the process. 1. We write code in Java. 2. The code is passed through the compiler program. 3. The compiler translates Java into bytecode, a language readable by the JVM. 4. The JVM bytecode is translated to machine code. 5. The computer then reads that executes the machine code. The JVM gives Java more flexibility than other compiled programming language because it will translate bytecode into the appropriate machine code depending on the operating environment. 1.2.2 Install the JDK. Open a terminal window on your machine and enter the following command. All right, so here, this is where I want to kind of explain something to you, especially if you have a Windows machine. I'm going to set this up on a Windows machine. Mac, you normally don't have as many issues, but Windows machine or Windows operating systems, they have a little bit more moving parts that you need to understand, and you need to understand how your equipment works. One of the things I want to point out to you is that on a Windows machine, you have two CLIs or command lines. The first one is the command prompt. The second one is called the PowerShell. Now, one of the things that I want you to understand with these two command lines, they're different from each other. The command prompt works on DOS. The reason why on a Mac machine you only have one, the terminal, is because on the terminal, it's proprietary by Mac. Mac owns their hardware and their software. Where with the Windows OS, Windows is just a software company. All the hardware is owned by multiple different companies. And so in order for them to install the software, they have to have a DOS-like component or command line in order to install whatever software that they want to put on their particular machines. And so in order to get the operating system from Windows, it has to be installed through the command prompt. Once it's installed, we now have access to the PowerShell. The PowerShell is a Windows product. It works similarly to the terminal because it allows you to also write Linux codes or Linux commands. But the command prompt doesn't. You have to use totally different commands. Allow me to demonstrate. So I'm going to put these side by side so that we can see the difference here. All right, so I have them side by side. And I am going to, let me put this down so you can see that. So over here in the command prompt, I'm going to type the command ls. As you can see, it is not recognized. It doesn't recognize Linux commands. But on the PowerShell, if I come over to the PowerShell, the top ls, it lists out the directories for me that I have on my folders or on my machine. But don't get confused by this as well, because the key to understanding and being able to troubleshoot any of your issues is to know exactly where the files are on your Windows machine. Here, if I want to list out the directories on the command prompt, I'm going to have to type this words right here, which is SET. That lists out everything on my machine, on my system. So there's a difference here. The PowerShell is just listing out my directories. The command prompt is listing everything on the system. All of this is on the system. Now, what I want you to understand here, and this is where it gets kind of confusing, because if I come over here, if I look over here on the Windows Power Prompt right here, the PowerShell, you notice here that you see these particular directories, these files. But now, let me explain something to you. If I go to documents right here, and then I go ahead and type CD, hit the tab, notice that nothing is coming back. It's empty. It's nothing there in that document folder. But now let me show you something. I'm going to go over here, and this is my sidebar. I have a document folder right here, and I have quite a few files or folders or directories in that document folder. But why is my PowerShell telling me that there's nothing there? Pay attention to the path, users, tweed, documents. Where's that at? So if I go down here and I look inside this PC, and then I go to the OS, I have that folder, user. So when I click on that folder or directory, I see tweed, the user. And there are these folders right here, Java, contacts, creative document. And then when I click on documents, you see that it's empty. Well, everything on your system is what we call the global system. A lot of the times, and this is what it's listing out, the global directories. But I actually have things stored in a different folder. But where are those files at on my global system? So if I come back here and I go back to my username, tweed, those folders are right here inside that OneDrive. So what's happening on your Windows machine, everything is getting stored in your OneDrive. So pay attention to where things are being stored, so when it's time to locate them, you won't struggle. Okay, I just wanted to point that out to you, because this is so important to understand before we are able to install any program. We want to know where they are going or what path they're being stored to. Okay, so now let's go back here and let's type in that command, Java-version. It says here, the term Java is not recognized as a number of the name of a CMD-let function. So if I go over here to the command line and I type the same command, and as it says, Java is not recognized or internal command. So, okay, let's go back to the curriculum. Okay, so now I typed in the command. Java is not on my machine, so I need to install that. Here we give you some instructions. If the response returns a major version, which it did not, I'll go to the next step, but I need to install it because it didn't give me a major version. So it says if you do not have Java 11 or the command does not work, you can download it here. So let me go here and I'm going to click on that link. And it takes me to the actual page where it has the development kit 11.0.17 that we want you to install. So here, so you can keep up with the curriculum. And so here, what I want to do is I want to look at the different downloads. This has the ARM 64 RPM, and it goes down to these different packages that I need to install. Now, what version do I need to install here? Let's go back to the curriculum, and we're going to see. It says here in these example is that it's Kit 15.02, but we want you to download Java 11 no higher than 12, according to the instructions. And it says here, the figure above shows options for downloading Java 15. You should download Java 11 from the link above. So that's why we gave you that link to open up to download Java 11, not the latest version. And so here with the Windows, because we're not on a Mac, we want to download the executable file, .exe. So let's go back to the page. All right, so I need an exe on here, right? And what is it that I don't see? I don't see the exe. I see the bin, but I don't see the exe on this particular, when we came to this link. Why? Because I'm on Linux. I need to go to Windows. There we go. So I just wanted to kind of point that out because if you're new to this, you may not know how to navigate through the system. And so I just want to show you how to find what you're looking for because it's so easy to download the wrong file. So here we go. So here I am. I'm going to download this exe file, this executable. So I'm going to click on it. All right, you must accept Oracle Technology Network license agreement for Oracle Java SE software. I'm going to click that, and now I'm going to download it. So it's telling me here I need to have an Oracle account to do this. So let me set up an account. I got to create an account because I know I don't have one. So let me create the account. So let me click on create. Now I'm here. So let me do this. Put in my password. Retype my password. Make sure those match. I'm in the US. Give my first name. Give my last name. Maybe I'll spell my last name right. Just put teacher there. Put my cell phone number in here. Put NA. Ask for a lot of information, but let's give them what they asked for. All right. So I created an account. Now, once you sign in, it's going to download the information, the executable. So I'm going to go here, click to download. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Yes. All right. Next. All right. This installs Java TM SC 11. We want to do next. And this is the path where it's being stored at. Program files, Java JDK 1117. So let's go ahead and best install that. Okay, now it's installed. We're ready for the next step. Click the next step to access tutorials, API documentation, developer tools. I can do the next step, or I can close this. So we don't need to do that now. We can go and check out the tools later and documentation later. So let's close it. All right. All right, so I'm going to cut that out right now. All right, so now let's do this. So I'm going to make sure that Java has been installed. So let me go back to my PowerShell and let me run the command. There, I have it. Let me see if it's on. That's the command prompt. Let's go to the PowerShell. Clear this for a second. And so no distractions. So on the PowerShell, let's do the same command. There, we have it installed. Now, we need to go back to the curriculum, and let's finish reading the curriculum because it's something I want to point out to you. Okay. So now that we have it installed here, it says install, you must first accept license agreement. Make a note of the location where the Java JDK has been installed on your machine or your computer. And so, like I said, it's going to be in the program file. And once you have completed the installation steps, move to the next section. Okay, so now we got this part done, and I'm going to show you some more information in the next 1.3. Now, take this information, go through it. If you have any issues, make sure you connect on Discord, or if you're in the Launch Code LC 101, connect with us on Slack. Here, I want to make sure your machines are set up. Sometimes it's very tricky, especially when you are a beginner. And sometimes you may not understand how this process works, or you download the wrong thing. Connect with us so we can get this environment set up for you. Okay, now remember, the more you practice, the more you improve. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.